It is Sunday, August 25th, and this is a week outlook brought to you by Insider Access for X and for Insider Access mailing members. This is for everyone, whether you're just a free mailing member or watching this on X. I want to give you a sneak preview of the week ahead. So last week we drove up. As I said, I posted on X. I said Chair Powell is out there. He's going to be declaring victory over inflation. This is going to be a positive catalyst for the markets. And guys, I will stress there were so many powerful trade ideas. I could show you a lot of them that I posted last week. We're going to look at some recap trade ideas and look at some new big trade ideas to come ahead. The last idea that I posted to X ran for over 100%. It was a perfect trade idea on Meta. Let's take a look at the week ahead really quickly. And I'm going to stress something. I know your favorite Furu or whoever has explained to a lot of people who are just getting accustomed to being strategic, says, who cares about macro? Just focus on this stock, scalp 20 times a day, calls if it goes here, puts if it goes there. It's a lot of nonsense. No professional speaks that way. And that's why a lot of the sort of online work gets a bad rep, particularly amongst serious market participants. You always need to know what's going on, right? If something catastrophic happens, the markets are going to melt down. If something phenomenal happens, that is a positive catalyst, the markets are going to run. And why does that matter? The vast majority of securities move in the same direction as the overall indexes. So when you look across the S&P 500, the vast majority, up over 70%, move in line with the S&P 500. And that is not a small sample pool. You can date that back as long as the exchanges have been in existence, right? So why not give yourself an edge by understanding what's going on with the macro scene so you can understand the direction? Then you narrow in on your ideas and say, hey, do these two align? You have a better edge. You have a higher probability of being accurate. So this week, what's the major news? We've got some home data, consumer confidence, initial jobs, and GDP. Those all have some impact. Big is going to be Friday. I'll tell you now, you can already calculate this. So for those who actually understand how to perform the calculations, we've calculated PCE. You don't get the exact number, of course, because there's still some data to come through, but leveraging the data that we have from PPI and from previous information, this is going to show continued cooling. And what we need isn't a blowout report. We need continued cooling in the overall trajectory on a year-over-year basis. The month-over-month can't continue to get lower to the point where it's negative or we're in a deflationary environment. But we want to see consumption continuing to show coolness, and we're going to get that on Friday. And so that's important. As I said, so recap, the last trade idea that we had, this was Meta. It's up on your screen here, called out a breakout idea. That means when it hits this point, we take calls as the idea, and it runs to the upside. As you can see, that's a big win. Last week, obviously, I'm sure those of you who are following me, as you see the X ideas that I post publicly, and when I say post publicly, I mean I just make it free and available for everyone. So whether you check my page every day and you subscribe to my feed on X and have the notification bell on, whether you're an Insider Access member, whether you are just a mailing member, whether you just don't even actually follow me, and maybe you just have my page bookmarked for some reason you don't want to follow me, and you just check in every now and then, the idea is there for all of you. Right? Because the idea is for me to share my expertise and to help everybody as much as possible and to get people on track. And the reason, one of the motivating factors for me was there was so much horrible information that I think it's a little bit cathartic. Nobody helped me. Maybe I can give back by getting online and actually sharing strategic information so that people don't feel as though, oh my God, I don't understand any of this. It's all rigged. And obviously it was a huge week last week. You could see insiders spilling into my feed. And just overwhelming. It's obviously a lot of huge trade ideas. An idea that we had was Chair Powell's talk was going to be very positive for small caps. Small caps is represented by IWM. That's the ETF for the Russell 2000. That's small caps. And just a quick note for everybody who's looking from the outside in. This was actually a longer trade for us. So, we took advantage of that dip and then re-added at 208 was the idea. And then knew this was prime. So it's been a huge win. Obviously, that's the reason you're seeing just a multitude of different screenshots. And as I said, I always appreciate all of it and the support and everything. But I let my work speak for itself. And I'm always really happy to see people recognizing that and wanting to share it and taking time. Because it's certainly not anything that's mandatory. When you see posts, I appreciate them. That's people making comments on their own. And so the easing conditions within the monetary cycle here is making the environment a lot friendlier to small caps. I will go that far as to sort of explain to everybody. So small cap stocks, they're not as well capitalized as the mega caps. So when you see the Netflix and Facebook and or Meta, Amazon, etc., the simple way is to explain is they have a lot of money, so they're not seeking capital as frequently as, say, small caps. And so when you have a rate environment where capital is difficult to access, right, meaning you pay higher interest rates, it puts a lot of pressure on small caps relative to large caps, which can do well in that high rate environment and can flourish because they're well capitalized. So that's why you saw the outsized impact on IWM. And of course, SPY is also something we're trading quite a bit within Insider Access. We do that quite frequently. And something, again, to help everybody with their trading, I actually put up an article. And yes, this was another winning idea, and this was a big one for us on Friday. But if you want to understand, there's so many considerations to have during the week, not just the trajectory of the SPY or what we're expecting on any given day or that week. We're also looking at premiums when it comes to trading options. You can't go into it blindly. Take a look at this article. If you go to my page, my feed for X, it's free. I'm not promoting anything where you have to go pay for an article. It's there. It's under the articles section. There's a tab that says articles. And I explained that in this period right now, for a variety of reasons, the QQQ is more expensive on a premium basis than the SPY. So I actually like trading the SPY more frequently as opposed to the QQQ. Now, QQQ is going to be a little bit more volatile, but there's some erratic volatility in that, which makes it less appealing to me. So again, looking forward to this week, something that's going to be important. Yes, we have what is setting up as a pretty good week right now. Keep in mind, NVIDIA reports on Wednesday. That's going to be on the 28th. And this is something that I cover much more depth privately, but I will just say to everybody this. NVIDIA is critical to the markets. If the NVIDIA is neutral, fine. The markets will continue their momentum. But NVIDIA will have an outsized impact on the markets. It's not just a matter of what happens. And it's not simply as to say, what your favorite Furu or network TV specialist would say and just, well, it's because NVIDIA is heavily weighted. It's not just the weighting. NVIDIA represents, in large part, the AI movement. It is the flagship security when it comes to the AI movement right now within the markets and the perception of investors when it comes to AI. Because you can glean a lot from NVIDIA's performance to the rest of the market to understand progress. Are we overbuilt on the hardware side? How are things going? Keep an eye on NVIDIA. If NVIDIA falters, the market will suffer. If NVIDIA is successful and actually beats projections, then that will be a buoy to the market and will actually add to the impact. And neutral just means we're still in a relatively positive phase for the markets. Last one that I think I'll just look over with everybody is Netflix. I like the idea of 674 as an area for support for Netflix. And in the coming 2 weeks, I think Netflix breaks its previous highs here. So we're going to see a lot of securities push up to all-time highs. Netflix is one that I would see breaking over 700 in the coming weeks. And I think we can see new highs for Netflix. So hopefully that gives you a little bit to think about, sort of the structure of the markets, what we're looking forward to. My view that PCE, I have not missed. I've been absolutely dead on. You can look at my record with inflation, with what to expect from CPI and PCE. I see that we continue to cool. As I said, the SPY versus QQQ and relative, which is more expensive to trade right now. We're in a better environment for small caps. That's why we saw the burst up. I'm not saying small caps is a trade idea from here forward, but what I am certainly saying is that if you're doing your due diligence, know that the rate environment has an outsized impact on small caps. And then, of course, when we look over Netflix, I see that making new highs in the next 2 weeks. Next week will be a shorter trading session as we have Labor Day, but we will have 9 sessions between now and the end of next week. And so trade smart. I hope this is helpful to everybody, and I will be back with much more